I'm Carcina. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them.
But
She says it's big, you know.
When we're talking about 50 and said shit got real, and thank God that shit didn't get anything crazy. But did at any point in time, did you run into each other? Did Joe run into 50? Or?
You know what? We never really ran into 50. Like, it was like they used to try to, they try to keep us away. Like, even if we have an event or anything going on, they have 50 coming in last or Joe coming in first or this,
Sure.
where we be out the building, or we can't be inside the building if G Unit's there, shit like that. It used to be like those kind of moves. Now,
welcome. Now, let's get into this. Fat Joe is getting a lot of pressure. What you didn't know was Fat Joe was involved in a lawsuit earlier. With a guy named Kenny Nolan back 2 years ago. Thank you. Hit the like button coming through the door as we shall proceed. Now, I want y'all to see something here. Kenny Nolan sued UMG, Joseph Antonio Cartinga, Fat Joe, Sir Robert Wilson Hall, aka Logic, and everybody else who was on this song. This is what Mr. Nolan alleges. I'll have this whole thing for y'all on the Patreon, so y'all could just read it all right? Now, this guy is saying that Joseph Antonio Cartinga, Universal, Logic, a guy named Pac FM, Armando, whatever, collectively, because of the events given to this claim in this courtroom, some of the defendants reside in or whatever, the digital transmissions of these recordings infringed on his copyright work. So, all of this went down, right? The song Nasty and all this stuff, right? He's borrowed from other samples and all of these different claims. So everyone went through this lawsuit with this guy. And this is what really got the ball rolling as far as a civil lawsuit and attack on Fat Joe. Now, Yeah, they said Fat Joe's work was infringing. As you can see right there, right? He sampled Nolan's voice at the 20-second mark of the sample and repeated it over and over. That white from the 2008 Elephant in the Room. Now, that white has over 400,000 combined views on YouTube. The Elephant in the Room debuted at number 6 on the US Billboard charts 200, selling 47,125 copies in the first week. UMG marked and distributed Fat Joe's infringed work, so that's why they got put in there. And Logic infringed on the work, not consequently entitled Nasty, for releasing it in 2013. The official video alone has gathered 16 million views. So Logic was put in this as well as everyone else for the sample clearance. Now, sample lawsuits happen all the time. So now we're going to get into this whole thing and where talking too much comes into play. That's Pistol Pete from Terror Squad. He's a street guy, a very real street guy. And when they think the beef is over, they start talking. They got phone records. And through these phone records, I don't need to hear that sound. So he talked about the 50 Cent situation and how it all got squashed. And there were other situations that took place that he had in a alleged recorded phone call when a guy was recording him for whatever the purposes seemed like to rat now.
When what's his name? Cause I got all for all kind of shit. What's his name that passed away? Manager, Chris Lighton, let him rest in peace.
Yeah.
I know Chris Lighton for a long time too. And Steve was my witness. They called me to G Unit. I go up there, they got plats up there, 50 cents is the man. I mean, right? He was 50 cents is big. This is G Unit. I'm in G Unit's office and I got a couple, offers and shit, like leave it alone, mind your business. I know you got the whole KAR movement going on. We'll work something out for you. I hope y'all get a deal for that, get a deal for this. Just mind your business, Pistol. This is between 50 Cents and Joe. And I was like, I'm sorry. And, Chris Lighton, I don't want to be disrespectful, because I know him and he's dead. But I basically was like, suck my dick. I'm not doing that. I'm loyal to Joe. I don't give a fuck what you offer me and all this and all that. And that's the way it went. And I just turned it down. And Steve was like, that's just the way Pete is. He ain't gonna, and that's just the way it went down.
Yeah.
So, and I finally bumped into Joe when Chris Lighton died, and then Joe had to perform with 50 on the same set. And that's when everything was like, yo, we're going to squash the beef and all this and all that.
How powerful was that?
Okay. It was crazy. It was a little bit funny. Everybody up there not expecting, not knowing what. But the funny shit is that I was having a hard time getting inside. Like the
venue?
Like the security was giving me a hard time. I guess they were scheming like, yo, that's supposed to P. We got to search him a little bit extra.
Yeah.
He's coming through. And I wasn't even deep. I was deep, but they was like on the other side.
Sure.
I was just with me and Raul, you know, one of my TS brothers.
Yeah,
And I'm like, but I have that thing on me. You know, meaning when I say I got that thing on me, I got a knife on me. You know, like just a regular blade. Regular blade is like having a 9 on me. You know, having a gun,
Sure.
357. I'm really nice with the knife. You know.
Pistol Pete is not the one suing. Pistol Pete ain't the suing type. Now, because Pistol Pete was, doing all this talking, this brought in a lot of attention to pay attention to the story for those who like to create their own narratives and things that they weren't even a part of to fluffing up a lawsuit. So while talking on these podcasts, and he's talking mad greasy about, but if you know Pistol Pete, you know what he's saying is authentic. So he was doing, I guess, talking to one guy on the phone, and he was talking about a situation with Fat Joe about, how they was about to do a hit. This other guy was like, oh, no, they was about to kill and smoke 50 Cent. Now, this wasn't going to be a situation where it was going to get somewhere. Now, when he talking about all of the things that went down, he was talking about when he was called down to the studio, because he rolled with a crew, that's pretty heavy. This dude has done time, stood up. He's just always been this guy that if he's down with you, you ain't gonna worry about nothing when he around you.
You know what I'm saying? I know how, I been through super gun battles.
You know that guy with the knife, Salt Bay? Did Joe ever bring you to the
the guy that be cutting the meat and all that?
Yeah.
Nah.
You find out you like nasty with the knife like this.
I'm nice with that, but with the humans, I guess. But in the event of that one, so he how you call it? So we out there. We out there and shit like that, and they're giving me a hard time. Here goes 50 Cent coming through. He's coming through with a whole squad.
Yeah.
He got his whole team with him, like, it's like 20 of the motherfuckers. I'm like, all right, yo, so I told Raul, well, get ready, because, we just never know, And it was all love, man. 50 came, one kept it 100%. What's up? You're a legend. What's up, Pistol? All love. I was like, yo, I was just shocked, really. I'm like, all right, all love. And he was like, what's up? And I was like, these niggas giving me a hard time and getting in. He was like, man, we not going in until he goes in. We all going in together. If not, we not going in, and that's it. And he was like, he told the motherfuckers, and he was like, all right, cool, all right, 50, yo. And they was like, nah, 50 was like, come on, let's go. And I was like, oh, and then we all went in. And it was all love. And ever since, 50 has dealt with my whole team. Rich Player, Joe, and I still haven't talked to 50. We still haven't, never vibed, never talked to him, never sat down and talked about anything, But like I said, it was all love, you know what I mean? So I don't, he's good.
Yeah, what about?
So as you can see, he lets everybody know, look, it's all good. We good. Oh, yeah. French could get called into the stands. See, y'all didn't know it was so much going on at this time that this whole hip-hop beef has been going on. French has been a snake. for years. And remember, he was rolling with Terror Squad, Fat Joe, DJ Khaled. So when Fifth, he went over there and started messing with Fifth. You know, it's a whole, you know, you got to understand this Terror Squad thing was serious. But, you know, you got to remember, French Montana was known for being shot in the head by the guy who he robbed. You know, the guy found him, shot him in the head. Then somebody killed that guy. It had nothing to do with French. Somebody ended up killing that guy down, you know, later, and French got all the credit for it. You know, so then he came out, he survived that. Then it became, you know, all this street music with Max B. Max go to jail, French get all the praise. So yes, Kevin Durant has been traded. We're going to talk about that after the NBA Finals. Yes, he's been traded to the Houston Rockets for Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green. Now, to get rid of Dillon Brooks, that's rough. Because Dillon Brooks was the heart and soul of the defense. That was rough. To lose Dillon Brooks was rough. Well, we knew they weren't going to pay Jalen Green, so then he's back with the coach he respects. Kevin Durant ain't going to be doing none of that bitching, and that's out. Because Ime Udoka smack him in the mouth. He be, what? What'd you say, boy? You want to play with me? I'm here. Want to play? Now shut up. You missed the goddamn shot. That's why we lost. So yeah, so now Jay-Z could be called in this thing. If this thing goes to a RICO.
Of like distance, like, you know, from far away distance shit. You don't come around and like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I don't bother. I'm not out looking for him or not like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, sure.
He's over.
Who would you say, like, to this day, meaning after all this time, is in TS? What happened to phone?
On Instagram. Guys that I don't really know, I'll be like, what the fuck is this guy? Like 40,
Yeah.
50,000, you know, this, that, we arguing and shit. And Gabe, I don't know if you know Gabe, that he's Raphael and Colt.
Yeah.
Okay, Gabe, shit like that. Gabe is my man, man. You know Gabe?
Yeah, I don't know him personally, but I know
Gabe.
of him.
Gabe is he's an asshole, but he's all right.
Now, you got too many fucking.
Hey, you heard the story with
what about the jewel? Steve said you fucking
Bob,
choking a jewel. What the fuck? What do you mean it was?
Oh no, one time, you know what's crazy? That was another occasion, but Steve was there for another time that Jilla wasn't minding his business. I'm talking business. You know, we talking money, 40, 50,000. You know, this, that, we arguing and shit. And, you know, you have the fucking young guy over there minding his fucking, man, yo, what the whole fuck that shit? You can't do that. And I'm like, yo, mind your fucking business, bro. Like, what you all over here for? Oh, what you mean? I'm part of this. And I'm like, my man, mind your business. I'm not telling you no more. Mm-hmm. Then I went up to the owner. I said, if he don't, that's your nephew. If he don't mind his business, I'm going to smack the shit out of him. And he said something again. And I smacked, and they had police there, security, police, undercover. I smacked flames out. I smacked him so hard, his glasses flew over there. And that was Gabriel. The same guy that we talk about.
Really?
Yeah. That's the one. That's Jay-Z, Beyonce, everybody's Jilla. So
are you cool with him?
We cool.
Okay.
We okay. We okay. His cousin that died, they killed, was my guy at that jeweler, at that spot. Now I fuck with Izzy. Aviani's,
Okay.
I fuck with Izzy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I know.
Now, he was warned not to mess with Pistol Pete. And Pistol Pete, he thought he could just still talk. And Pistol Pete wasn't going to come over there and slap him because Steve Lobel was there. Now, Steve Lobel, in case you guys don't know, is known in New York as being this film producer, just business mogul all the way around. Steve Lobel is always in there. He's always in the mix. So when you see Steve Lobel, you know, he goes in and do the deal with the most grimiest crews. But he's normally been around Fat Joe, working with Fat Joe for years, getting them in deals, sponsorships. So Steve Lobel was normally the guy that would, you know, work with these dudes. And, you know, he's a businessman. So when you hear the name Steve Lobel, that's who he's talking about.
All these cases, it was like 20, 19 years old.
Yeah.
These are all 40-year-old guys now.
Yeah.
You know, married, kids, all type of shit going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And how long are you home now?
I've been home like 15 years.
Okay.
15 years.
Would you
not to cut you, but
don't cut me.
you know Alan Grunblatt? You know Alan?
Who?
Alan. E1.
E1.
Alan Grunblatt. He's a good friend of me and Steve.
No, I don't think
I helped him out before too. Shook and I went up there and took all the tables
No, then
all
you play.
down.
What's Steve talking about? You play.
He's the president of E1.
Oh, E1, the music.
Alan Grunblatt, man.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah.
He's the
What
president.
happened with him?
Man, he called me one day. Yo, please come down here, P. Where are you?
Yeah.
I'm like, what's wrong? He said, Shook is going up here nuts. Shook went up there and he flipped all the tables. Oh, God, he went crazy up there. I went up there. I was like, Shook, what the fuck are you doing, bro? He was like, man, these motherfuckers said, Shook, let's go. And then that was another time. Steve
Did you
called
play
me.
basketball with him?
With Shook? Yeah, I played with Death Row. How you know about that?
Steve told me.
Oh, yeah. I played basketball
Where?
at Death Row.
Okay.
When Death Row was open and all that, we used to play I was in Death Row for like a week, you know, just hanging out and all that shit. I got some old footage of me and Shug bugging and him having strippers come to the studio and dancing and all wilding and having fun in the studio and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know?
We spoke about it off air, but talk about Joe and rekindling with 50 and then putting that shit to bed, and you also think about Jay, and how that recently over the past 2 years? 2
years.
It's got me when
it's been like 2 years and a half.
How did that shit happen?
You know what? I don't know the ends of it, to be honest with you, how it all played out. But I know we have a good friend of ours, Pekka.
Oh, Sean Pekka, yeah.
Right. So Sean Pekka has a lot to do with that. You know what I'm saying? So, he's a good friend of Joe, brothers, shit like that. And he's obviously worked with
Jay-Z, yeah.
With Jay-Z, do a lot of shit with him. So he kind of like put the plug in together and got to that. And
how real was that back in the day though? Was it something that because keep in mind a lot of us are just music fans. So it's like you fucking with Fat Joe, you fucking with 50.
It was kind of dangerous,
and then
because you had guys that didn't really give a fuck about. Like I wasn't there for the entertainment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was there genuinely just being loyal to my brother. And it's like, I don't care who this rapper is. I didn't give two fucks who the fuck he was. You know what I'm saying? He sucked my dick. What's up, pussy? And diss him and whatever. Do anything I can.
And I'm sure he had people on his side that were,
Yeah, everybody was quiet. I know a lot of guys that like they good guys that they down with a lot of guys, Bonds that's down with, that's down with Puff and shit like that, Ciroc. I know a lot of good guys, jail guys, D-Rock. A lot of guys I know. I mean, but at that point, it could have got real ugly. Because a lot of guys don't really think, like, it's just like, for instance, I'm Pistol Pete. Now I have to control the guys that go out with me. Because I have a whole bunch of guys that they all a bunch of street guys and they don't give a fuck about any other rapper or what's popping or anything like that. Or they see, like I said before, they like the horse in Central Park. All they see is Pistol Pete. They don't see you. They don't see nobody else. So if you violate me, then you're in trouble. That's it. And they don't know no better. They come, they come from Vietnam projects in the Bronx, from Cyprus. They come from these areas, and they don't give two fucks about what's popping and what's the rapper.
And that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Now, I know a lot of Steve Lobel stories. A lot of people ain't happy with Steve Lobel. Steve Lobel have crossed a lot of people, stole a lot of people's deals. Allegedly, Steve made his own deal. Like somebody, let's just say an artist was working on something, right? And they was about to close on something like, yeah, we about to do this endorsement deal with so and so and so and so. And they was like, word. It's like, yeah, Steve, we about to do this. I'll tell you how grimy Steve is. Steve Lobel is grimy as hell. Steve went over to the competition of that sponsor and said, I know this whole launch they're getting ready to do that's going to destroy your whole promo, whatever you got rolling out. Now, if you want to get saved, I got this artist from New York. We got to beat him to the punch. I guarantee you this deal is happening. He knows the ins and outs of another person's deal and what they're getting ready to do. He goes over to the opposition and negotiate a deal for his guy to do the same goddamn thing. But let's get ours done now. Let's get this thing inked and dried and shot and put out so they can't do it. And they was like, oh, we like that, Steve. Do we get to stick it to them? And they done spent all this money signing these guys. We gonna do it for this much money. I've already heard Steve was grimy, dog. He's done that to so many people. Like he's a grimy guy. Like if he was in the streets, that's why I think Fat Joe and these guys trust him. He's from the streets. He know how to do stuff street. But what Pistol Pete is telling you is like the people that roll around these artists are very serious human beings. So this guy that's the hype man that's following this lawsuit, what he's doing is using all of this testimony that he's hearing, not testimony, but actual interviews, trying to paint stories about different characters. Now, if this gets turned into a federal indictment situation where it's a RICO, they could subpoena 50 Cent, Jay-Z, possibly Cuban Links, French Montana. All of them will be in there, and it'll be a star-studded event. 50 Cent would be the star witness in this whole thing. So, what did 50 Cent do? $50 Cent immediately got ahead of the situation. So he don't want to be called to the stand. He's taking Fat Joe's side all the way. Saying, nope, I don't believe it. These claims are baseless. Fat Joe has said he's backing Fat Joe 100%. These claims are baseless and not credible. 50 Cent calling BS on the claim that Fat Joe wanted him dead back in the day, showing love for his fellow New Yorker in a recent social media post. The rapper took to Instagram to address claims made about Joe in a lawsuit earlier this week. The plaintiff, Terrence Dixon, accused him of allegedly offering a bounty on 50 Cent's life. Look at Phil. These baseless accusations and claims are not credible. I'm sorry Joe has to endure the public scrutiny and damage to his reputation. This a stick up. I wrote this hook. I should have kept this one. $50 Nation. Or 50 Cent Action. So, no, you're supposed to talk. See, Goo, if you do this, the government knows where you stand. So they're not going to subpoena you to come there to testify because you're going to testify on Joe's side. They don't want that. And if you 50 Cent, you don't want to be taking no stand. Like Kid Cudi. Do you think this is 50 Cent? You cannot go on the stand and be like, do you see him in the courtroom? Can you point to Mr. Cartanga? You know, that's not going to happen. And we're just saying, if it came down to that, Fifth ain't doing that. That's not the smart play. The smart play is to go public and to tell the people where you stand. So therefore, if they do want to subpoena you and ask you for something, you can say, I'm not doing that. And if they want to, be like, okay, I'm going to be a hostile witness. It's not going to go the way you think. So they're not going to put somebody on the stand that's going to hurt their case. And 50 Cent will hurt their case. They're going to be, we have all this here. I don't believe it. I don't believe it's true. I don't believe he did it, and that's that. Even if he did believe it, he going to say, I don't believe it. There's no way. You're not going to win if you 50 Cent going on that stand. Yes, it was very smart of him. I'd have did it on day one. I'd have went public saying, I don't know anything of what you're talking about, officer. Yeah, now that first lawsuit was the one it's for a claim for relief for copyright infringement from Nolan. Then he had a second claim for release for various copyright infringement. Like I said, all of this is going to be exclusively on the Patreon for those who like to read lawsuits. They're going to be there for you, all about the copyright thing that started 2 years ago. Now, Jay-Z, Meth Bleak, and a lot of people like Bleak's story that he gave in the podcast will give the feds what they need to talk about a fight that happened, but it involves Memphis Bleak when he hit a guy upside the head with a bottle. And they were at, both of them had their VIP rooms. And there was a lot of instances where they had like brushes with Jay-Z and all those guys at Rock Nation, and, Rockefeller. Dame Dash has spoken on it. But AD is from Chicago. We don't claim that dude. Man, I mean, I don't know. Nobody I know claim him. Third claim for relief from various infringements. Look at that. All of these claims. So all of this is what got the ball rolling. Even if you win that lawsuit, all of these things are coming and let you know that the government is kind of trying to come get you for something. Or it could be the fact that you cost the record label some money. You pissed them off because they were named in the lawsuit. So the people that got named in the lawsuit with you ain't gonna be happy that they was named in this goddamn lawsuit and they had to lose money or spend money. They ain't gonna like that.
Jersey and the police in Jersey and all that. Oh, they I have bad experience every time they stop me. To this day, they had me on the highway for like 3 hours the other day. I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck did I do?
Just checking your record and shit?
Yeah, but holy shit, like what the fuck? I don't got shit in this fucking car, bro. Like you gotta be kidding me. And they just come, oh, you Pistol Pete, this, that, and that. Oh, let me search that. Oh, it's a little smell. Just a bunch of thousand excuses. I'm like, my man, please, bro. Just hurry up. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. That's the only, but as far as Jersey, I named Jersey. I also love Jersey. It's a love and hate thing.
You mentioned something one time that really stuck with me. You were like that a lot of loyal dudes don't always get like repaid back or get become big as far as money wise. Like
all the real people just don't. You don't see is all you see out there is a whole bunch of make believe.
Yeah.
No, I'm just being honest. A lot of these rappers, there's all a bunch of make believes. He's all the front, a lot of gangster shit, a lot of everything is all it's to me it's not real. I'm just being honest. Like I don't look at these guys as, I don't even know half of these rappers.
Yeah.
And half of these rappers, they come to my party. I throw a party every year. Me and Joe, we do it big, wherever, Live, Club 11, we do it at wherever it's popping that is it. That's where I'm doing my birthday party. I celebrate my party. I celebrate life. I spend a lot of years, a lot of time away. And, and every moment that I can celebrate life and have a great time, I'm going to.
I mean, that's what I meant.
So I do that.
Yeah, especially after you've been away for so long.
I do that. My birthdays, I do it.
Yeah.
I'll be 50 this year.
50.
You know what I'm saying?
Fuck.
50 years old.
Yeah, how many kids you got?
7 kids.
7. Fuck.
7 kids,
God
1
bless,
daughter,
man.
1 princess.
There's 6 boys.
And 6
Man,
boys.
You got to start in 5 and a 6-man award, man.
Yeah, I got a whole team, man. I got a team. I'm blessed. They're great kids. None of them been in trouble. I encourage them to do whatever they want, whatever they want to. He was in Brooklyn with me, and I was in there with a bunch of his co-defendants and stuff like that. And he came and he was like, "Yo, P, I was down to meet you, yo, fan." It was all love. He's a stand-up guy.
Yeah,
can't say nothing bad about the guy.
Yeah,
And
you've been able. Crazy thing is, you've been able to. Your journey is fucking crazy, but you've been able to stay home. Change your life around. But there's a lot of things too. Like one of the funny shit you told me is that I don't know if you ever spoke about this, but the porn shit. Yeah, you ever?
They offered me $300,000 to do porn.
But why did I would
Steve
jumped in there.
Lobel. You run around with Steve Lobel, man. Steve Lobel go get that check for you.
No, I know, but why didn't you? You didn't want to take.
You know what?
I told you about Steve. Steve will find the money. Steve will find. I told you this dude is grimy. Told y'all, dude is straight grimy. And the more time y'all want to put up He said, Steve Lobel. Right. Exactly. Yeah, Alan Grunback told him don't do that. You know, you got an album finna come out. You can keep yourself sure. We're gonna pull out a rap album with you on it. You ain't gotta do that. Don't go that route. Oh yeah. So a lot of situations like this is why I don't say a lot of my guys' names in my stories. This is why when I did hood stories, they can't really gauge where it is. I might change a location in the story. I've changed the names in the story. So you don't know who these people are. You just know the story. So when you hear the story play out, you go, damn, that's messed up. That's crazy. These hood stories is off the chain because they all real. But they told in different aspects to where the police can't really match it up. Plus, the majority of the hood stories have all been resolved. You know, like, and they're educational. We're not glorifying the stories. We tell you what happened, and this is what should have happened in the situation. So that's why the hood stories were so great, because that told everything, you know, like it told what people used to do. Now, most of these modern stories that's happening, there's a lot of hood stories still going on, and it's over more stupid, pettiest stuff you've ever heard. But I stopped doing them because pretty much I couldn't even I don't think I remember too many more hood stories. I mean, we got about 3, 4, 500 of them. Probably. I'm just like, man, I don't know. Somebody had to talk, and then one will probably pop back up. Like, oh yeah, I forgot when we went there at the pizza thing, but it was always an educational reason behind it. We did it in every single one. Tell people what they should have done. They shouldn't have did this. Shouldn't have reacted that way. Should have did it this way. So it teaches you a little bit how to think and how to move in these situations. But a lot of people have a lot of ego involved. They don't want to be a punk. They don't want to be a certain individual, the whole nine, you know, so it's straight like that. Now listen to this.
50 himself, he didn't, or I didn't get to speak to
Okay.
but Chris Lighting told me,
copy.
you know,
copy.
Things will go away. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we could, if things go away and your end and you stop dissing 50 and you know, mind your business, point blank. He told me, Pete, can you mind your business? And I said, I'm not going to mind my business, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, bro. You know, like we all in this shit.
Yeah.
And it was like, damn, you know, we could have got you this. I want to do this for you. And I was like, that's all good. But you know, I can't just buy me like that.
Well, I mean, look, there's a lot of things going. Is it possible? I mean, a book's got to be coming. You know,
1,000,000%. The name of the book is The Dog in the Yard.
Yeah, and that's gonna be look out for
that's the
podcast.
guy. That's the guy right there. That's my big brother, Dice, and I'm only mentioned because he the one that gave me the name.
The Dog in the Yard.
The Dog in the Yard.
Yeah. Shouts to Dice.
Shout out to Dice. Did 26 years stand-up guy. Might be the richest guy we might all
Pretty
know.
Pretty soon. We'll be going out to fucking Mr. Chow's with Dice.
Absolutely.
Dice, stop fucking around, man.
For real.
All right. But yeah, man. Listen, there's a lot of things coming. Social media. You like social media?
Yeah, I love social media.
What are you on there?
What Pistol P, KAR, TS.
Yeah, and you.
And when you got a guy that's down for you like Pete, sometimes the main guys, they get, I always say, big-headed. They kind of forget who brought them to what? And when you see that, that's when you start seeing the situation go left. Now, even though the Jay-Z situation is dealt with, it's over with, nobody really dealing or talking about it no more. Man, you got so many interactions. They crazy. I done dropped probably 2 of the biggest Patreon videos I've ever done. Last night, I think I really went to the Holy Grail. Last night was something else entirely. So I was very proud of that video. I wish it was longer, but I got out the parts that I wanted to get out to the world so that they'll know what they dealing with out here in the world. So believe me, they coming for my head now. They coming for me. Don't think I wasn't hurt. But as I always say, you look at people like Joe, you look at people like French, Fifth, and Jay. First of all, Jay ain't gonna make a statement. Jay's not trying to be associated with anything rap. Seriously. He's just not. Jay ain't trying to have nothing to do with any of these guys. So if you a hip-hop artist or you rap, Jay don't want nothing to do with you. He really don't. Rock Nation, whatever, he ain't standing with nobody but Meg Thee Stallion. He don't want to deal with none of these dudes no more. He see they hot. He'll be like, man, y'all kind of hot right now, so I'm going to stand way over here. I'm not even standing next to Kendrick Lamar because, I'm just going to be over here. I'm in the background. I'm only standing next to my wife and my kids. I'm not standing next to another rapper. I don't want to be in no photographs. Oh, yeah. Shouts out to Young Mouth, Lords, Thug Lord Supreme. Bun B is tapped out. Look, it was so many people in these streets, man, who came in here and was trying to get people to mind their business. I kept trying to get people to mind their business. It was funny because Fat Joe was the one I was talking about when he come talk about people on the internet. Like, I'm really living life out here. And y'all talking about people on the line. He was the one people on the internet, but now he on the internet. So I'm like, now you on the internet. You realized there was money here. You was late to the game. Because they didn't understand it. None of the rappers was over here. And we was getting money. And they didn't even know it. They thought we just, man, these guys just talking and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, Oskino was like, oh, man, I see it, man. Sino, man, you really doing it, man. Okay, I see. I thought y'all was just talking. See, no, I understand Carcino, man. Yeah, I get it, man. But you was in Philly, man. You wouldn't last a week. I'll be like, because y'all grimy. If I didn't last a week in Philly, it's only because of the griminess. You know what I'm saying? Dudes are just extra grimy for no reason. Y'all be snaking each other. It's just real crazy. Crazy behavior. Now, when you say something 100% right, you want to be on point with these dudes, you got to know who you rolling with. You know, if you got people that you could actually count on, you know what I'm saying? Like, actually count on in this game. You know, these people will lay down their life for you. That's a responsibility. You don't throw that away. You know what I'm saying? I had guys that was like that. And I didn't even do nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's like just because I was from the same building as them, you know, because we was from the same building, I got that love. I got that respect from them. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because we was from the same building. It's like, dog, we from the one. We from the one. You know, like we was in, because that's how it was. It's just that I left the building. You know what I'm saying? My family moved about the building before it got crazy, crazy. And it was like, as soon as we left was the right time to leave. Because about 2-3 years later, it was the worst place to ever be. It got so dangerous. Other people in the building couldn't walk to the other building. You had to get permission. You know, even though you got family in the other building. People was forced into gangs and it was forced to sell drugs. You know, it was, we need soldiers. So this is what you gotta do. It's crazy like that. Man, they would snap your neck if they felt you was being disrespectful in a way that, you know, wasn't 100 or authentic. And New York moves the same way. Just because Jay-Z's the biggest rapper and, you know, popularity, there's people in New York who would take his life and snap his neck. They don't even care about the rap thing. This is what Pistol Pete is trying to get y'all to understand. There's a street element and there's a street element. Jay-Z is street affiliated. He ain't in the streets no more. These young dudes coming up don't care nothing about no, yo, that's Hove and all that. They don't give a damn about that. Hey, dude just came home from doing 7 years. You think he trying to hear some BS? He went there for 7 years because he couldn't control his temper. He didn't care about what time of day it was and strategizing. He snapped right there on the spot. He gets hot, somebody can get hurt real easy. This is why you don't let people in certain areas, you don't take them everywhere. But some rappers think that make them look cool and they make them look dangerous because they hang with these type of people. So they want them around like, yeah, look who I'm hanging with, like I'm the boss. No, you're not. You're paying them. Real loyalty, these people do it for free. They do it for nothing if you was really down with them. But then these people stand with you and you get into a situation for nothing. So they do something for you. They got to do time for you. You know what I'm saying? They doing time because the popular rapper can't do the time. So he would be like, yo, I'm going to go in and do a stretch. It ain't nothing. Just take care of my family, put some of my books. Now that becomes your responsibility. And if you don't honor that, you're nothing. Now you're a worm. And when that dude get out, you're going to have major problems. And before he gets out, you may have major problems. So these dudes know that. And they get up and they move and leave town and go to a whole nother state. Like, I'm out here now. This is where I live. It's like, what? Yeah, I'm living out here now. This is for me. This is the life for me. I mean, when we was going up and we saw today's society. We looked at the people out there and the culture of the game. When you start talking about the culture, you want to make sure you talking about it in the right form, because everybody ain't about the culture. Let me get that into y'all heads right now. There are people out here that are not about the culture. They're not. So this disloyal hype man in the crew knows all this gangster stuff, right? Just because he's TNS. Then why is you filing a civil suit? Why are you trying to talk RICO? Because you got a high-sprung ambulance chasing lawyer who's trying to think of a way to grab some money from over here and over there and over here. When people get disrespectful, it goes to a whole nother level. Fifth was always street associated and street affiliated. So even though he will move in a different way, Tony Yayo would be his guy that would go and get the guys and, X, Y, and Z. But see, the longer Tony Yayo was with Fifth, the weaker his street game got. And yeah, he's from the streets and he knew some guys from the streets, but they still out there hustling. Yayo out there being a rapper. He ain't hustling. I mean, he ain't moving it. He's still street affiliated on his block and his crew. So for a 2-3 block radius, he got a crew. Some of those guys will ride for him and be close to him because they know he connected to the money and would fit. But as far as putting in work in that street, that credibility expired like way back then. He's like, yeah, you used to be out here. I remember that, OG. Like, you used to be one, but we respect you for that. But the way things are moving now, you will have no influence over. Like, you're not bossing it. And then, especially when certain situations happen, when guys lost their life, and you went up against a guy who's got way more money and power in the streets than you do. And, they spray your crib up where your moms live, where your sister live at, your nieces and nephews, they spray that crib up. Thank God nobody got hurt. And all of a sudden, the feds come and get dude. It's the streets see that. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, you got to understand. There are situations that's going on that y'all don't know nothing about. Rebecca Lopez, if y'all know that, then y'all would know there's a situation that happened with Rebecca Lopez. She's from the Bronx, and she had went to a Jay-Z concert, and she went to go see Benny Siegel, Memphis Bleak, the whole Rockefeller thing. She went to a concert, and things got, a little, let's just say it got disrespectful. They treated her like she was a groupie and was like, suck my D and all this, and according to the story. And she's related to one of the terror squad members, like one of the street dudes, like her dudes. Like she said it, like, yo, my daddy, like my people's is terror squad. And it was like, F that, poured champagne, like some crystal on her head, all kind of stuff. This is stuff that you ain't gonna hear about nowhere in the streets. And that situation alone was a real situation, right? That it had to be a discussion. So at this time, there was no beef between the people at this time. That situation got squashed way before the basketball game. The basketball game where JC told them don't come off the bus and all that stuff. So this was way before that. Okay, this was when he was doing Money Cash Holds during that time. So yeah, volume 2J. So they were able to squash that situation because it turned to find out that Rebecca is a real person and this thing was real, that she felt disrespected. And they saying she totally exaggerated what happened in the situation. We can't even hear them. It's like we couldn't hear a word she was saying. We was pouring champagne out on everybody in the crowd. Like we can't hear what she's saying. She's up there cheering. We pouring champagne on people. That's all that happened to be. We ain't disrespect that woman. We never grab her head. We never even took her in the back. Like we didn't even move like that. Like, so they squashed the whole thing. And, he was like, she felt offended. Here's a bag. You know what I'm saying? And there's a bag. We made it, whatever. But no, we didn't do that. And they gave her, it was like 10,000, 5,000, whatever that much it was. But that was some street stuff that they knew, and people knew in New York. Like in New York, if you was in that circle, you knew that happened, that went down. Nobody talks about it. Like serious, nobody talks about it. Oh, Cuban Link. Oh, of course he's gonna jump up. Cuban Link will jump up and definitely have a lot to say about Fat Joe and his situation. Like Cuban Link knows the guys he know and the guys he knew in the street. And he was pretty much kicked out of the industry when he put his hands on an artist, Paul, was it? It wasn't Paul Wall. It was the guy who did the song with Beyonce. The Cuban, I don't know if he's Puerto Rican or not. Baby Boy, he did the Baby Boy, Sean Paul. I think his name is Sean Paul. So yeah, when he beat up Sean Paul in Miami, chasing him around the room and all that kind of messed it up for Cuban Link. Yeah, so he went to Miami to try to get his career back because of New York. Joe just had too much blackball power. So of course, if you see anything like this, he finna pop out like, yeah. So that's all you gonna hear from him. And when you see a real street guy and he's riding for his guy, there's no wiggle room. There's no talk. He ain't doing it for the cameras. He there to get to it. And you ain't gonna be able to talk your way out of it with him. Like you see a guy like Pete coming, you know he coming. That's it. Ain't gonna be nothing to talk about.
And that's the way it went. And I just turned it down. And, you know, and Steve was like, that's just the way Pete is. He ain't gonna, you know, and that's just the way it went down.
Yeah.
So, and I finally bumped into Joe when Chris Lighton died, and then Joe had to perform with 50 on the same set. And that's when everything was like, yo, we're gonna squash the beef and all this and all
How
that.
powerful was that?
Okay. No, it was crazy. You know, it was a little bit funny. Everybody up there not expecting, not knowing what. But the funny shit is that I was having a hard time getting inside. Like the
venue?
Like the security was giving me a hard time. I guess they were scheming like, yo, that's supposed to P. We got to search him a little bit extra.
Yeah.
You know, he's coming through. And I wasn't even deep. I was deep, but they was like on the other side.
Sure.
I was just with me and Raul. You know, one of my TS brothers. And I'm like, but I have that thing on me. You know, meaning when I say I got that thing on me, I got a knife on me. You know, like just a regular blade. Regular blade is like having a 9 on me. You know, having a gun,
sure.
357. I'm really nice with the knife. You know what I'm saying?
And that's all they gonna think about. That's all they gonna want to hear about. Oh, of course, because that's all they care about. So when you start hearing, when you start hearing people that's on the other level and on the other side of it, and they start talking, man, one of the terror squad's family member had cancer real bad, and one of the guys looked out. You know, they had beef before, but you know, they was from the other projects, but they was linked with G Unit. And Fifth was like, look, what was that? Fifth got him. They said, man, his mom's was in the hospital. I don't know if this was Terror Squad. This might have been D Block. It's either D Block, somebody from Yonkers, or there. But Fifth got their mom like seen by the doctor, the one that was good for the cancer treatments, for her to do her chemo or stuff. And they were like, Fifth good for life. Because he ain't know me at all. You know what I'm saying? And he did that. He heard the story, and Fifth had that happen. Was like, no, they gonna see you at this hospital. Go to this one for the chemo. Take her to this one. Don't listen to that doctor. Take her to this one. You good. You know, that's a whole different experience than what everybody else has been experiencing in the last recent years. Like it didn't even make sense. Half of these other stories you was hearing out here in the streets. But that just show you street dudes got hard. Because at the same time, his grandma was sick. 50's grandma was sick, and nobody knew it. So, you know, it was a big thing.
Yo, I was just shocked, really. You know, I'm like, you know, and it was all love. And ever since, 50 has dealt with my whole team, Rich Player,
Yeah.
Joe, and I still haven't talked to 50. We still haven't, never vibed, never talked to him, never sat down and talked about anything, you know. But like I said, you know, it was all love, you know what I mean? So I don't, you know, he's good.
Yo, what about Cuban Link grew up in your neighborhood or Joe's neighborhood?
Nah, he's not from my neighborhood. Hell, fuck no.
But at one point in time,
Cuban Link was my little man when
Yeah.
he was around and all that. You know, like Cuban Link tried to pick on Steve Lobel. I don't know if
Really?
Steve Lobel ever told you that story. I don't know if he's gonna be quite happy with me telling you this one. But Steve Lobel, we was at the tunnel, the shit on the West Side Highway, well, and we was all out there, and I pulled up. And they're like, yo, Pistol, you know, no, I'm sorry. All the security's out there like, Pistol, I'm sorry. We can't let you in. Cuban Link is inside. We don't want no problems. I know what you're about. Blasey blah, wait till we leave. Or let us get rid of him. Let us kick him out and all this kind of shit. And we out there, and we out there just in front of, in the club, in the back of the club, just talking shit. Yo, what's up? You know, girls pulling up. You know, whips and all that. I'm talking, so I'm down there talking to some girls. They pulled up. Yo, what's up? What's going on? You know, you good? What's up? We vibing and all that. Next thing you know, Steve Lobel is running to me. I'm like, what the fuck? This motherfucker running. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? The marathon out this bitch. I'm like, Steve was like, oh, Pete, they try to front on me. Cuban Link in them. There's a whole bunch of them. And this time I was like, fuck them niggas. Them niggas all suck my dick. Where they at? He was like, this nigga nuts. I was like, come here, don't, nigga, we ain't, you staying right here. And Cuban and all of them came and shit. And the biggest guy they had when it was like, oh shit, yo, Pistol, man, you was up north for me, man. Yo, we was in Kasaki together. Yo, remember me, man? I was like, my man, I'm not trying to talk to you, bro. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about, man. Like, what's up? What y'all niggas want to do? And Cuban was like, damn, Pete, man, I thought I was your little man. And this, that. And Joe, you know, I was like, listen, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not even trying to hear you, bro. And you're not doing nothing to Steve, and you're not doing a motherfucking thing, and what y'all want to do. Like, I don't want to talk. What's up? And it was like, no, it's not like that. P, you know, you're OG. We don't want, you know, and Cuban was like stuck. He was like, damn, but I was looked up to you. And I was like, my man, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit, bro. You don't got to look up to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to hear that shit, bro. And that's how we kept it. We kept that shit cute. You know what I'm saying? And I had 100 guys with me, so it was dangerous. So and everybody was like, you know, like my guys be looking for wreck. Please, please go.
You ever see him again?
You know what? I probably did see him sometime. I don't know, some other like distance, like, you know, from far away distance shit. He don't come around and like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I don't bother. I don't.
And this is why I try to tell y'all. How people move. And he was like, man, this is what it is. And now you see how Cuban Link is right now. And, you know, he looked up to the real street dudes. You know, they know what it is. The Cuban Link's a street guy. You know what I'm saying? Hands on. But you be a little too aggressive in this business, and they put you out. Oh yeah, he was so happy this charge came against Fat Joe. You gone. They got you. You out of here. You know, it's just like, damn, this dude is.
So what we talking about here, if you don't get by now? The fat bastard, the one and only, you know, the beluga, the one I like to call the beluga, the pale beluga whale, which his name is Joey Crack, aka Joe Petto now, Fat Joe. So in the complaint there, y'all seen the complaint, y'all seen everything, right? So I'm not making nothing up. So he got receipts when it comes to the young girls, the 15, 16-year-old girl, remember? She was 16, so let's let her give me head. So the grooming, he's the beluga groomer. He was the grooming beluga. All right, grooming her. I can't even understand. You can't even picture that. Hairy whale, hairy pale whale, blob, Jabba the Hutt, trying to get an innocent 15-year-old girl to do anything with him. Like, what the? I got a daughter. I just want to punch him in his mouth just for that, just the thought that he invaded my head with just that thought, because I believed he had. So he got receipts on that, right? Then he got receipts on pistol, el pistolero, pistol. Or some people call him Water Gun Willie around the way, my way. Others call him, what is it? I forgot some others. But anyway, Pistol P. I'm gonna keep it respectful. I'm gonna keep it cute. Let's keep it cute, like he said. Let's keep it cute. Yeah, he's on telephone calls. Mr. Telephone Man, Pete, something wrong with your line. Could you trying to threaten TA? And Percy recorded your ass on the line. Told me to chill, but you kept on talking and blah, blah. Now the feds got gonna see. Oh my God. So this is where it gets crazy, right? Because now you got receipts, and now receipts are forced to come out because it's a lawsuit. The lawsuit, that's what happened with Diddy, but Diddy was backwards because Diddy had the homeland first, then the feds, then all of that. But this guy, he's starting off as the civil, remember, because Cassie, she did the lawsuit first, the civil court. Matter of fact, it's the same way. She started to sit, but then they picked it up. You know what I'm saying? The helicopters saw from above. Homeland Security came down with the jets. And they did what they did to Diddy. And look what Diddy's at now. So this one started off with a civil lawsuit, right? Really, Joe set it off. In fact, Joe's the one who set it off, trying to keep TA quiet. That was his whole thing. Tries to shut him up so he doesn't, you know what I'm saying, he couldn't be able to sue him and get his just due, his money that he, you know what I'm saying, he's owed. That's why Fat Joe, he loved the money so much. He could have settled out of court already. Probably. He could have gave TA his little whatever and settled out, keep this away from the media. But no. Tacaño Joe. Tacaño. You don't know what that means? Cheap individual, right? Tacaño. He worships the money more than anything in the world. He protects it. He's the fat Daffy Duck. When the genie opened up, you know, remember that cartoon? Daffy Duck was inside when Bugs Bunny opened the clam. Mine. Oh, mine. Oh, mine. That's the fat Daffy. Fat Daffy's, you know, Joe. So he doesn't like to share. He doesn't like to pay people fair. You know, he's thinking he's running a sweatshop. There's a Terror Squad sweatshop over there going on. Everybody's just, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, it was happening back then. But we started making money back then. So, you know what I'm saying? Us individuals, me, like Pun, me, myself, I was getting my own money because we was doing shows. And we earned it. We was out there working. Well, he was getting money from us too. You know, Pun was giving him 50%. I was giving him 20 for everything. Features, shows, everything. Remember that. But we don't get nothing from him, of course. You know, he been making money back then. That's when he started making money, but he still wants to tacaño singao. You know what I'm saying? You could squeeze the eagle for you know what I'm saying? But the Gotti movie said they enjoyed. Yeah, so where we at? Well, I want to get caught, man. Want to get lost. Oh yeah, so then so they got the recordings. Pistol P, your voice is on there. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're slacking off, boy. So yeah. Shout out to Percy too. You know, I understand he had whatever he had at the time, you know, rest in peace and everything. But when he was alive, at the end of, you know what I'm saying, his term with the Terror Squad, and he found out that Joe was even jerking him and treating others giving others more than him when he did, he deserved a lot. Percy woke up and he started helping TA because TA had the same mentality as him. So he helped TA with that. He put TA on point. They wanted to do harm to him. So he, he sided with TA because he had love for TA. You see what happened? Same thing with Charlie Rock. Charlie Rock at the end, he couldn't back this fat dude and trying to jerk lies in the kid, Big Pun's family. And when he found that out, he was like, how you gonna do that? And this fat beluga makes real individuals go, yo, how can you do that? That's when you know it's devil's work. It's the devil's work. When the real ones, the real criminals, real ones that do anything probably to get money, but these things that he be doing to like his own people, the real ones be like, yo, I'm not with you with that, homie. I can't do that. I'm telling you. Did that to me. I was like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? And that's what's going on with him. Then he singles you out because you have a different opinion of him and you see him in a different light. Because you actually, like the Percys, the Charlie Rocks, myself, the TAs, we seen him as the devil he is. He showed himself to us. So now we like, we're rocking with you. You a devil, man. And that's when he starts his devil plan, and he gets everybody around the circle to blow him. All the blowfishes that he let in, now he puts them to the, yo, he's the enemy. He's the one. Look, he starts making those guys that finally saw him for who he is, which is the devil. The other little minion baloney smokers that follow him are still there, acting like they don't know what's going on, but they're all ganging up on one of their old teammates, which is one of the realest ones, Percy, Charlie Rock, myself. Like, we real individuals, TA, niggas that put in work, I'm saying, inside that crew. And the people, the public had love for. But he don't like that public love for them guys, for us. He don't like that. He gets jealous. That's what the devil does. Anyway, the receipts are in, buddy. The lawsuit has been presented. You have been served. This is the novella. Yeah, there's gonna be novella. I don't think you could get out of our sights now. Yeah, we can't, like, this is gonna be a program that it's gonna be out there in this full capacity. Because remember, he's doing great with the Kiss and Crack, right? The Kiss and Crack show he got. Jada Kiss, the Kiss and Crack. I call it the Kiss and Crack. It's not Jada and Joe. It's Kiss and Crack, right? They doing, I think, good. And the ratings and all the manipulations and the fake views that they be buying, it's working. You know what I'm saying? You can't hate, not notice the fact that the people still hate his personality and how he over talks. And he wants to shine and this and that and how fake he is. So we all see that. But at least he's showing us that. But we like Jada and the way he handles himself. And, it's viewable because of Jada. He kind of cancels you out. So regardless what it is, Jada's celebrity power is so big that it's working. What you was trying to do, let the people, the FBA forgive you and take you back into the community, the hip hop community. It was working a little bit. It was, what I'm saying, because they was keep force feeding us this, and they got their own lane release. Him and that show, the Kiss and Crack show, and then it's the Mason Camp show. So, and the Gilly and Wallow, so it's not too many, names like that draws your attention. Like they're part of that, elite little podcast world. So they was getting views and it was getting passable. Like, every episode is like, yo, I hate this fat dude. Yo, he's lying. But then Jada comes with a little joke and, Joe plays his position as the fat clown that he is. And he, so he's where he was working his way back into, the public's hearts. But here comes TA, the legend, and here comes Karma. Because y'all might have forgot the fact that he did it to TA first. But now here comes Karma, which is already, the ball was already rolling, But bang, right when you thought you was getting up again, right, and be in the right situation, reality and truth comes back in the form of a lawsuit, in the form of a, time for you to say the truth, your moment of truth. I like to call it. I made a song called "A Moment of Truth" back in the days. But this is really Fat Joe's moment of truth. Everybody gets their moment of truth, but this is the Beluga's moment of truth. Cojones. So yeah, a lot of receipts, man. A lot of receipts in this complaint. I read it. I didn't read it all, but it's a lot of language I don't understand, but those words means a lot. And they're used. They have big, giant words. And those kind of words is when you're really dealing with something that it's going to land you with 20 years in prison. You know what I'm saying? Things, when you start reading an affidavit or something or paper, and you start getting lost in the words that they use, like, and then after that, big words is like a crime or, you know what I'm saying, the actual complaint. You'd be like, yo, this looks like it might have some time attached to it. And what I'm saying is, this is civil, but it has all the characteristics with the beat ups and the physical abuse and things like that. This one already comes prepared. The TA one comes prepared with the RICO part, with the whole using the whole like enterprise for this and Rock Nation and Pistol Peace phone call threatening and me. They even use me like for threatening, which I believe him too. I believe TA when he said, yo, they try to. When he got mad at TA, he say, "What? If you get out of if you get out of this circle, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna Cuban link you." In other words, which means this beautiful scars, they became beautiful because I'm a beautiful individual, But these little betrayal scars that he never took credit for before. Remember, he was on an interview saying, "I would never do that to Cuban link." That's why it was so important when I played that interview right afterwards that I did on my channel. Y'all can go back and check it. Where he said, he's my brother. I would never do that to him. I want to find the guy who did that so we could. Remember that? I told you he was baloney pony. He played that perfectly for y'all to fall for it. That's what I'm saying. He's doing that behind the scene. And he's been doing what TA's been saying as far as threatening other artists within his camp and other people. Or you don't want me to Cuban link you. You don't say you don't want to get cut in your face like that. Threaten them for whatever reason. If they want to leave or they want to, get their money that they work for. Whatever it is, when he gets mad at this artist. So I'm using that as an example in that circle. And I don't understand how. That's what I'm saying. It's like I told you, I beat that ass that first day. You know what I'm saying? That happened to me after I beat the shit out of him, though. Out of him. He stuffed me. I didn't get the first hit and everything. He got the first hit. He got 6'3". I'm 5'8". His size, he got size on me. He got the first hit on me. I got up from that floor, my brother, in 1 second. And I rocked him with the 5-piece combination Popeyes, KFC, Burger King, McDonald's, and Wendy's. Hit him. 3 orders. Well, Lobel was everywhere. There was blubber all around the floor. He was already dying. The beluga was already falling. The bouncers had to grab me, and that's when the sucker, the bootleg artist from the back, that's when they had to do that. But I'm saying he's using that situation against other people like TA later on in life, and he's taking ownership for it. Like he did it, like he sent it, right? Do you ever see that behind the scenes? You don't see that? That's how much of a punk he is, But the shit to me is like, yo, man, if you know the story of what happened, like the real story, what happened with us, they should never be scared of a dude like that. Real niggas should look at this dude like he's a bird and he's a traitor, just like I look at dudes like that. Any real individual be like, hey, you did that to your man? You know what I'm saying? You did it from the back and you bigger than him? You needed somebody to help you? Wow, you a sucker more than I thought you was a sucker. That's how I would look at him. But y'all looked at him, the public, I guess, he turned it around, he spent it. And y'all look at him like, y'all got to respect him. I'm the sucker for some reason. Some of y'all talk about, I'm the sucker. And I did the realest shit over there. But you think I'm a sucker. Cool. 20 years later, look, he's still using this to guys like TA. And TA is no sucker either. Don't get me that twisted. TA gets down, get busy. But, you outnumbered in that whole Beluga tribe, the Beluga circle there. I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying?
Free party for the next Diddy party.
These RICO charges against Fed Joe sleeping with minors are allegations, proven until guilty. The Bible says everything will be revealed.
The bootleg artist from the back. Wow. TA gets down. Get busy. But
these RICO charges.
Yeah, so let's get ready for the NBA Finals. We're going to go live for that. Shouts out. Definitely go to my Patreon, Carcino for Life. All my Patreons already here. That video, that's about 30 minutes that you saw on there. It's the realest video ever put out to the world. So definitely pay attention to that. We up out. See y'all in a little bit. Game 7. Who you got?